until he so impressed casting directors they started giving him roles. He played Frank Leo in the Canadian drama series The Bridge, and recurred as Bill Kern on the CW series Hellcats. We know him as Deck Chief Galen Tyrrell and one of the final 5 Cylons, Mary McDonnell. Since then, she has appeared on numerous television shows, including Burn Notice and Dark Blue, and she has recently joined the cast of NBC's mid-season legal drama, The Firm, based on the John Gresham novel. Number 6 herself, Trisha Helfer! Then 19 years later, playing Willie Logan. He played opposite his wife Susan in Taming of the Shrew, and their son Gabriel was the lead on the ESPN show Playmakers. Recipient of the Genie Award for the feature film Solitaire, Colonel Solitaire, Michael! Do you think there's a bias among Emmy voters against science fiction? Because the show was recognized by the United Nations against Emmys.
The answer to that is yes. I don't want to say anymore because I really...
Be careful what you say.
Yes. Hello.
First, Mary, thank you so much for wearing that outfit.
That's always the same thing.
You know your reference? lived on Earth, what do you think they would have done?
Made scotch and banged sheep.
I've been quoted already saying that I'm working towards and trying desperately hard to continue the story. No one else wants to, so I said, what the hell? Let me see if we can. It might take a little bit of time still, but that would be the understanding. Exactly that story. What happened to everybody? And like I said before, I would start it off. I would start it off by having Colonel Ty come over and knock on my door and tell me we have a problem and we have to move forward and try to find out what happened is. And it years, 200,000 years of course behind us. So it would have been an interesting situation to find the chief humping the squirrel.
Not a surprise, goddamn squirrel.
Not really. It's just that.
You know, before we came out here, someone said to us that the other panels, the minute they go out, they sort of deteriorate into trash, but not us.
Obviously, you guys have not heard the story about the miking of the chief. For those of you that have not heard that story, raise your hands. All miking.
You have not?
Okay, watch this.
All right. So when you're mic'd on set in your costumes, they put a mic in your lapel and they run a wire down your leg to a pack that sits on your boot. And if you're one of the lovely ladies, they have to wear a pack on their thigh because there's nowhere to hide it. There's high-heel shoes and all this stuff. So Trisha's always got a pack hiding near your bum.
Yes, and for some reason the sound guys told me the microphone, the antenna has to go up. We kept trying to get them to maybe go down, and they said no, it has to go up. So
Trisha, all they'd hear would be your feet.
So a lot of times I get a question when I'm at a panel, boxers or briefs, and my answer is neither. So one time I was on set and I showed up and it was the hangar deck and I was late and I was wearing my orange coveralls and he gives me the wire and he says, drop that down your leg. And I said, sure. And Graham's this big tall sound guy and he's kneeling down ready to put the pack on my boot. And his head's like over here. And I was talking to somebody and the room was full of cast and crew and extras and everything. And I'm talking to somebody and I just did like a Superman thing. Burp. And there was this bonk. And I stood there talking and I stopped and I thought, that shouldn't have hit something. That shouldn't have hit something warm and fleshlight. So people started turning and looking, and I looked down and Graham was just in abject horror. And Ellie spins over and looks at me and goes, Aaron just cold cut the sound guy.
This question is for Hank. More serious question. Good. They mentioned the Zoe character getting the silent technology from you guys. So I wondered if the producer could talk to you about that. Comparing California, I know it's probably not going to happen, but to get some continuity for how that was transferred.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what the question was. You want to know how the technology was transferred from the end of Caprica to Battlestar? Is that the right question?
Well, in the original Battlestar, the Cylons in the original Earth transferred the resurrection technology to the what we call new Cylon. So the critical Caprica, they mentioned that in the commentary, that of course with the series ending, they never got around to showing how that happened. So I guess I didn't share with you that continuity of the story.
Maybe that'll be the next series called The In-Between.
It'll be on Blood and Chrome, but I can't guarantee it.
No, you're right. It would be a book.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blood and Chrome. Wait for Blood and Chrome and you shall find out how the technology was transferred.
All will be revealed.
Question on this side?
Hi.
Hey, we were just waiting for Mary. Okay.
They used me as an excuse. I tried to get there. I knew what would happen to them if they waited too long.
Well, all I can say about the evening was it was just the four of us, and we had a very nice dinner, not lots of conversation, and then I said as I was about to leave, "Gentlemen, would you please accompany me back to my room?" And apparently these lovely men got me back to my room where I decided I needed to party, and somehow figured out that I actually have music on my iPad, which I could never find before. And they all took care of me and got me into bed. So, note to self, if you're going to drink too much, make sure you have a wonderful set of friends around.
I was at all the parties last night. I hosted the Wolfpack Elite event for the, third, fourth year running up at the Hard Rock, and it was fracking awesome. There might have been booze. Might have. Is anybody at the Wolfpack party last night? The rest of them are still in bed.
Mary.
I have a question for you.
Aaron, I have an answer for you, I hope.
Next question.
Was that you?
When
Aaron.
the series first started, Rosalind and Adama are pretty much enemies, and Blizzard is great. And then love happens. When did you realize that relationship was going to take this shift?
I like being in prison. I think it was the handcuffs. No. I'm sorry, it's their mood. I just fell into it. I think it was just a slow dawning of trust, is how I experienced it. I mean, Ed and I had such, we fought that, but we had a big connection, so we lost, our stubbornness gave way to, I think, something more real. I think that's kind of how it evolved.
This way? This question is for Renee.
Yes.
Do you have any involvement with the upcoming series?
The upcoming which series?
Blood and Chrome.
No, we don't. I don't know. Not really. All I know is that my character is 20 years old and it starts with, actually where Hogan and I meet. Exo and I meet. So I guess we're both, right? Is your character?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's how much we know about that.
Yeah. Is that fully cast? Is that fully cast?
It's shot.
They shot.
Already shot.
No.
how grim it was being able to happen to be there, I guess, and everything. Guys.
Thank you for your service, man.
That being said, I worked for an Apple, and I was really pleased with the way you guys portrayed the copious amounts of alcohol consumption of the show. Having met you in real life now a couple years in a row, Wolfpack, I know that in real life you also continue that tradition. So you know who I'm talking about. So for 3 years in a row, I've told Aaron when I asked this question, he's always like drinking. Well, that's a great question. So if they ask him sober, he's like, that's a terrible question, but ask it anyway. Before a scene, have you ever had some adult beverages, maybe during a scene that might have, you may be able to pick up on later as the audience?
Basically, he's asking, has anyone ever been high or drunk on the set?
Not intentionally.
I second that.
I would, yes, the camera guys always had some scotch in the truck, and before every sex scene, I usually would share a glass with Baltar. Or two.
This is being recorded.
Is that to make it so it wouldn't work for him, just in case?
Okay, let me clarify that. It wasn't for every sex scene because we got at it a lot. It was only in the more intense ones. Yeah.
This is going well. We're married.
This here?
My question was for everybody Thomas. Throughout the duration of the show, there seems to be a metaphor between your character and Black Panther itself. And that is about the commissioner is about to retire, and then early in the course of the series, you guys take steps down as ally, and yet Black Cat has to step aside on technology. And I was wondering if you could prompt you.
Well, that was writing. That was Ron Moore all the way. And I have to tell you that the writing of the show is really what pushed us over the top. And I said it yesterday. It was a process, and it's not to say, not answering the question I am in respect of it was really wrong. That relationship was strictly done by the writers, and the correlation between my character and what was going on with everything. But they were brilliant. I controlled my character, but never did I ever even call them to say, hey. The only thing I did is that I took it further than they were ready for. In other words, the alcoholism that Adama went through was my choice. They never expected me to get to that level. And I think it shocked everybody. It shocked when people would watch the dailies that weren't in the scene, and they find, groveling and throwing up on it. They were shocked because it was not ever written. And so I just kept getting weaker and weaker and weaker towards the end of the show. And I thought that was really a truth that would happen. And everybody went with it, and they went strong, and that made everybody else have to get stronger. Ty got stronger, and Lee got stronger. You tried to keep it up, and she was dying. So it was a situation where we made choices, but in that case, the relationship between Adama and the Cylons and the respect or the lack of, that was all done by one of the guys. But what I will say is that you have a lot to do with it. I said it yesterday. You guys had so much to do with this show, I can tell you, and you'll know who you are. All of you that blogged from 2003 forward, raise your hands on the show. Okay. All of you that blogged with the writers of the show. Okay. There was many people that blogged from all over the world. And what happened was the writers would write something, and then it would be augmented by us creating it into production. The production would get it and really make it come alive. was really, the writers would say, my God, we weren't even thinking about that way. The way you guys played it was completely different. And then we gave it over to the post-production. Post-production got it and augmented it to a level that we had no idea we were going to get to, because the special effects was extraordinary and the music was superb. And then we put it out over the air. And I remember the very first season came out over the air in Sky in London, in England. It was the first people who saw the production. And somebody there got it right online. As soon as it was played, they got it online and they pushed it out. And as they pushed it out, everybody got it on the planet. They knew what to do and how to run the computer and the technology. They got it. And what happened is that they started to talk about the show immediately. And then the writers started to learn how to blog and got into it. Because you remember the year was 2004. And in 2003 is when this whole technology was starting to be created. And then what happened is that they started to talk and people took it to an even higher level. And the writers, of course, took credit for it. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I meant. And then what happened is that they started from there to write the next season of shows. So it was really the combination of technology coming in for the first time, in which two things we produced. One was communication, world communication, on one solid piece of artistic work, which was our show. The second one, which is most unusual, was really the relationship of the audience's commenting on what our show was doing. And it was brilliant what happened. And so I take my hat off, and I said it in writing when I wrote the prologue for the book, for the final season. I put in, I gave you thanks to all the fans. So you deserve the biggest round of applause for getting this story.
What was your reaction when you learned that Ellen Tye was the last of the Fight Club stars? What? Spoiler alert!
I think probably my first reaction was, Kate Vernon is going to be ecstatic about this. And she was, and we were all quite happy. I can't really remember what I thought about it at the time, because it was quite a long time ago. And I was researching my character. But in addition to what Eddie just said, we shot with the same shooting crew for 5 years, same DOP from the beginning of season 1. Basically, Battlestar Galactica was a movie that took us 5 years to shoot. And as an actor, you never have that luxury. You are always starting a new project, and you have to inform the audience in a scene about the past relationships that you've had. But because of the way Battlestar Galactica developed, if Ty walked into a room and say, for argument's sake, Baldar was there, we don't have to do anything. We can move on. But if we're shooting a movie of the week, James and I and the director and everybody have to talk about it first. How do we inform the history of this? So as actors, that was an absolute gift. Having the same shooters with you, we were like a team. You'd say, Kevin, did you get that? No, then I'll do it again while we're still rolling. Because it was all handheld. But the one thing, too, that you never get to do as an actor is, I was very aware of post-production while we were shooting. Usually you do a project, and then when you see it cut together, you look at what Paul Leonard would do in LA with the sound, you'd watch it normally doing a film and go, wow, that's too much. But when we're shooting Battlestar Galactica, you would read it and be aware of what the post-production is going to do, what the sound is going to do. And especially when we were doing it, you'd read the script and you'd think, whoa, wait till Barry McCreary gets his hands on this. That's going to be fucking amazing. So really on the floor, we got to work with that. And that is a very rare thing. And every once in a while we'll say, there'll never be another Battlestar Galactica. And that covers a lot of ground, but that is definitely one part of the reason why there never will be, per se, another Battlestar Galactica.
short of show that Laura really was. Pythia, what do you think about that storyline and what are the parts that you would have wanted to explore more that you weren't able to?
I think that any human being through the course of history that is deemed a prophet or someone who carries a message is really just a human being who happens to be a vessel for some information that is passing through them. And for whatever reason, due to karma and due to Kamala and due to love, I think that she did have some information passing through. And that's what I tried to address on the most human level, and that's what they wrote. And I liked that we didn't make a big deal out of it. I thought that was kind of great. It would have been interesting to know a little more about it, to play it out a bit. But I think that we're never really sure, you know. There's a lot of people walking around on the planet who have tremendous things to offer, who are picking up information. There's a lot of beings, creatures, the whales, and we're trying to understand what they're telling us. I think it's whether or not we're ready to receive the information that's the bigger story. And that's kind of what happened to this tribe. They all became receptors and reached their goal. So that's kind of what I loved about it.
One of the things I like about the show is that how many questions were answered without us making a big deal about answering the questions. And one of the great things I like was Pythia. Pythia we established on the trip to Earth. So we find out eventually, by implication, Pythia was a sodomite. And you remember when 6 in the first season said, we know more about your religious texts than you do, because one of us wrote them. So there's a lot of things that were answered without actually making a big deal. Hey, we're answering this question now. Because if you go back and watch it a second or a third time, you can see all those things make sense. Chief knew about the two or the couple of the 5. You know, pretty man his head wandered off, and all of that said, how did he know about it? He was there. So some of those things are cool. They were answered by
we all used to hang out in the Kamala then and kind of envision.
You said you found her stash.
Yeah, the chief found my stash.
And I shaved it off. What?
We're all gonna start crying.
You seen the goddamn show?
There's no reason to choose from that.
When I killed Deanna, when I had a broken leg in the underground parking garage explosion, because I had to sell the broken leg and I had to sell this piece of, pound foam was actually 200 pounds. And so one of the takes when I lift mustard to get up and then hit, but you got to swing, the momentum follows it through. And it would just depend on how Lucy fell, how I had to follow the top of her, not to not hurt her. And one of the takes, I landed right here on one of the set pieces and separated a rib. And I didn't really know it that day, but then the next day we were doing the downloading, and I was in the tub and the thrashing around. Just started, I guess it was moving, it started with the nauseous, and I just started crying. I couldn't control it because I was in so much pain, and ended up at the hospital with an X-ray. So that would be my most painful, I think.
I think you meant dramatic.
Yeah. And the funny thing is at the hospital, they're like, well, how did you do this? And I said, well, I was shooting a scene. No, exactly how did you do it? well, I was killing someone. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, but you took Lucy down.
What was your most painful experience, Mary? Dramatically.
Physically, I was going to talk about my problem.
No, it wasn't. The question was dramatically.
I have no idea. It's huh?
I don't have an answer.
I think
Karen said.
it was pretty
Come
intense.
on, when he kills Ellen, give me a break.
Yeah.
Performances that man gives throughout the entire show is impeccable. I mean, he really was the biggest find for the entire production. The structure, when he went down into New Caprica and he had to deal with everything, he lost his eye. It was amazing what this man did, and it was so convincing from the very first moment. We shot the very first thing, and he was drunk along the side of the wall. I said, holy shit.
That's acting.
This kid is a real method actor. Because he was really drinking. No, but I mean, that was to me, that was the most stellar. And I gotta tell you, Mary, I think the hardest one in her life was not being able to react when she was dead.
Oh, but I was already dead, and we were still shooting because, of course, Ed had to continue the scene. And what happened is that Eddie was so in the moment that tears were kind of falling down his face, and these teardrops were falling on my hand, and it would make dead Laura cry. My eyelids would start fluttering, and my face would flush, and Michael Reimer would go, "Cat! Mary! He's supposed to be dead!" I said, I know, but it's Eddie's fault. Because he's so good. I'll try again. You try it again, you do it again, and I'd be like... Meanwhile, it wasn't just, it was also my very last shot on Battlestar Galactica. And it was moved up a week, so I had no preparation for it. And so I was not at all prepared for this to be over. And so even though I am capable of playing dead, I've done it in several movies. I get paid well to do it. And you know what? It was one of the hardest things was to let go of the emotional connection. So it was a really interesting, funny, and...
I will say this, and this is really the truth, and it makes me cry as I think about it. When that scene was over, it was the end of our performances together. It was over. The show was over. And she stood up, and we didn't say anything. And the whole crew was 3 o'clock in the morning, and her son was there, Michael. He had to be there, because she could not get out of the raptor. She started to move, and he was breathing silence. And her son grabbed her, she came off the raptor, and she could not stop. An intense, gut-wrenching pain that she was going through. It was, the whole crew stopped and wept. Everybody. Nobody wanted this to end.
So say we all.
My favorite version of 6 was Natalie. Who was the most fun for you to play?
In an odd, weird way, I'd say Gina was the most fun, not fun, but as an actor, it was the biggest challenge I've had, because up until that point, I was just head 6, which gets a little monotonous, because, it takes more, a lot of it's technical, and you kind of don't have your own storyline. And I was confused because I didn't know what it was. So when Gina came around, it was, you know, someone for me as a character for me as an actor to try and grow and you know, show the producers that I could handle more. So I'd probably say Gina just for that reason. But I like Natalie as well. I was happy when she came around. I liked her, you know, she had more of a political slant, and that was fun because I didn't really got to play that as the other characters.
This side.
There are so many political feminist issues that they dealt with: sexual violence, domestic violence, rape. Was there any issue that you wanted them to deal with, or that you fought for, or that they never dealt with that you wish they had?
I don't remember feeling that way. What I do remember, what I do know though, is now having been separated from a show that so eloquently addressed the issues of men and women, but as a woman, the issues of woman in power and woman as victim. It's hard to be out. I mean, it's good right now, but there was a period of time where I, in retrospect, had even deeper appreciation for all the issues we did go into with one of the women on the show at different periods. And the one issue that I think I had a very hard time accepting, the playing of, Eddie's talked about this a lot, was when I had to ban abortion. Well, I didn't, Laura did. So forgive me, we do get a little confused, but and it was just a very fascinating thing to have to whip one's brain into a larger point of view and see the world only on a survival level and separate from one's emotional, spiritual context, because there wasn't an individual choice for her as far as Laura felt. So exploring that would be really interesting, I think, is going, what I wish is that there could be more of that we see leaders wrestling with the separation between committing to the whole picture and what they would love to do personally. I think we're seeing that a little bit right now in our country, and I think it's heartbreaking.
I think I said yesterday, for those of you that were in the room then, yes, that's it, here then. Ron Moore does a series Bible at the beginning of the project, and everybody had a couple of page backstory, except for number 6. I had one sentence, the machine as woman. And I went to him and I'm like, Ron, I'm the newest actor on the set, and you give me the least. And he said, well, you're the only known Cylon at this point, and I haven't decided everything about the Cylon, so I can't give you a backstory because I don't know what it is yet. But to me, when the other 6s started coming around, the Gina was the second one, and the reason she looked different was because my hair fried off right before we shot that, and we had to get a wig made overnight. So the one watching, number 6, that was a wig at that point. That was the first episode of the wig. And my hair was just a fried off mess. And so I said, I went to Ron and I said, can we use it? I actually wanted to shave my head. I thought it'd be great for the prisoner, if they had shaved her head or buzz cut or something, but they wouldn't let me do that. So that's why Gina looked different, but they liked the idea that it was all matted and kind of not good looking. So that's what started the different looking 6s. And then we just kind of continued it on, and there would be a lot of discussion of, okay, is this one the blonde 6? Can this one be dark hair? Can this natural hair? And whatever. But I liked that, and then I asked Ron, I said, can I also make them a little bit different? And so I looked at it like, however much human interaction each one of them had, that to me informed what they were like, and if they'd had good interaction, if if it was like Caprica, who had actually fallen in love with a human, or if it was like Gina, who had been, tortured by humans, and what their mission was as well. Were they a little bit more, militaristic, or was it one of the pilots, or was it one of the people that had a lot to do with humans? So I saw them as different people, and so it was easy for me to keep them separate, because I in my head they were different people and they had different thoughts and emotions because of how much interaction they had and what their job was. How did I find out? Every 10 days they're turning a brunette into a white blonde. Every 10 days doing the roots.
Yeah, I know.
You set me up.
Every couple of weeks we would all get together at somebody's house and have like this big pop-up. And this one day in particular was a September day, and we were going down to Michael Reimer's with his wife Loretta. It was on an unbelievable spread. And I got there early because the bar was open, and I found some pieces of paper sitting on the counter, and I looked at them and went, "Oh, Battlestar Galactica outlines for episodes. Cool." We were shooting episode 12 at the time, and this is season 3, and it was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, hello. I gotta go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and I must have been there for like 45 minutes. Because I roll right out. I know, I'm fine, I'm good. Just flush, wash. And I'm reading it, and bullshit. Tyrell, fixes a viper. 9 episodes, fixes a viper. That's a great sheep. Finally, I get to the end, and there's music, Ty, Anders, what the hell, and all that. And then if I realize it, I was like, what the God? So I left the bathroom, and I was like, what are you doing in there? I felt like 10 years old when I came back. I pulled stuff down my pants. I took my shoes off, and my dad goes, what do you got under your shirt? And then wearing a flat jacket, you're 10 years old. No. So I was sending him these things, and he says, you can't tell anybody. You can't. But it's September. We're not going to shoot this till December. No, you can't say anything. So fine. I'm like, fuck it. 3 months. 3 months. I'm walking around set, and Ron and David would walk by me, and I'd go, stop. Anything coming up to the chief? Nope. Fixing like this. 3 months. I had to sit there on it. And finally, it was, they told us the day before we shot that, they told us in the reboot, they brought us in, one person at a time, quietly into an office, and told us this is actually happening. And I walked out of that office, and I picked up the phone, and I called Ron Moore. Ron Moore's office, and I was speaking around. It's our episode to speak to Ron. Go on to the phone, like, get on the phone right now! And he talked to me for about an hour, talking off the ledge, and I was going to fly down to LA and start a spree. A drinking spree.